Theater and Stream, and this is another Minisode. Today's episode is going to concern the idea of television's golden age. It's probably this idea you've heard bandied about in the last 20 years or so when people talk about TV, but it's kind of this very nebulous thing. When did the golden age begin? Why did it begin? Are we still in the golden age? And then if not, why did it end? When did it end? These are all kind of questions people can't really agree on the answer to. So what I'm going to attempt to do today is answer these questions and then put some reasoning behind those answers. Because if I can tell you one thing, I think that we are definitively out of television's golden age, and we have actually been for some time. But not to get ahead of myself, first what we have to do today is define when did television's golden age begin. And that period is thought to have started in 1999 with The Sopranos. This period was marked by 4 different changes in the world of TV, and they're all thought to have benefited the medium. Number 1, there was an increase in creator-driven hour-long dramas. Basically what happened was filmmakers were driven from the world of movies to television because of the increase in the number of cable channels in the late 90s. As well as kind of a creative lull in Hollywood, in this film studio system. Number 2, there was a pivot to cinematic storytelling and also some serialization within the world of TV. There was an influx of budget and talent, which kind of brought TV this movie-like feel, as well as an increase in plot lines that basically carried over from episode to episode. Serialized storytelling. Number 3, there was a lessening divide in the quality between basic cable, regular cable, and premium cable television. And also, basic and regular cable loosened their restrictions on explicit content, such as violence, sex, profanity, that type of thing. And finally, number 4, there was a normalization of film actors and directors working in television that happened in the late 90s. If you're old enough to remember, basically, television was once something that was looked down upon by film actors, by movie stars, or overly serious thespians. So jumping between film and TV, it really wasn't a thing that happened until the 90s, and it became normalized. And this kind of led to the advent of what we would call prestige TV because of the overall increase in quality. And so basically, these 4 things that I just brought up, they led to some of the most loved television of the 21st century, starting with stuff like Mad Men, Breaking Bad, The Wire, Lost, The West Wing. And this quality, it continued into the 2010s with things like Game of Thrones, Better Call Saul, Stranger Things, House of Cards. But a lot of people think that we're still in the middle of the golden era because of the sheer number of things to watch and just the places, all the streaming services that you can go to watch them. But for me, it goes back to the quality versus quantity argument. There's too much out there. We've been oversaturated. I think what people call it nowadays is slop. There's too much slop. And I think the golden age definitively ended. And if I had to put an exact date on that, if I must, I would say May 28th, 2023. And basically what that date was the night that Barry and Succession both ended their 4-season runs. And even then, I would consider this date the sort of last dying gasps of the golden age. The actual death, the point at which the golden age was in metaphorical, vegetative state, was probably closer to 2021. So we kind of have to ask ourselves, why did the golden age end at this point? And what I'm going to do is lay out my personal 6 reasons why I think it ended. Number 1, of course, the 2020 pandemic. This led to a lot more people sitting at home with nothing to do, which led to studios relying more on their streaming services and their cable channels for revenue. In turn, a whole bunch of series were greenlit for the sole purpose of having content. This led to a lot of reboots, a lot of sequels, a lot of prequels. Basically what happens is quality declines, quantity goes up. It leads to a lot of garbage. Number 2, binge watching and the decline of appointment TV. Basically, a lot of streaming services release entire seasons at once nowadays. And what this does is this discourages water cooler talk. Everybody is always at a different point in a show's episodes. I can be on episode 1, you could be on episode 7, my coworker could be on episode 5. And combined with our culture's oversensitivity to spoilers, this creates situations where discussion is really hindered at places where people talk about TV, whether that be online, at work, when you meet up for your friend or with your friends at like a bar or something. And so people are kind of discouraged to talk about TV in that way. Number 3, the disappearance of the monoculture. Nobody really watches the same show at the same time anymore. Just because of the pure saturation of TV shows and streaming services, it's led to what I would call niche programming. Basically, everybody has that perfect show to cater to their specific interests. Even shows that do manage to capture the zeitgeist, stuff like Wednesday, stuff like Squid Game, nowadays they do it in fewer numbers for a shorter period of time because people basically just move on to the next thing, once they're done watching a show. Number 4, the downturn of physical media combined with the instant access of shows on streaming services has led to this idea that many shows are disposable. The show that you watch on your streaming service is just another piece of content that your monthly subscription pays for. If you don't like it, you can just move on to the next thing. It's not like you paid $30 for, a 6-disc set of a show like we used to. You don't have no monetary investment beyond your, the $10 a month that you pay for Netflix or whatever. Number 5, the pandemic era rerun boom that continues till today. Basically what happened was social and societal hopelessness during the pandemic led to reruns of comfort shows becoming the predominant form of TV entertainment. Stuff like Suits or Gilmore Girls or Friends. It basically shot up the charts, driven by what I would call Gen Z and millennial longing for better times. In other words, nostalgia. And then 6, and finally, the evolution of television as a second screen experience. What this has done is it's eroded the quality of television. Streaming services are catering their programming to people whose attention is divided, specifically people that are on their smartphones while they're watching TV. And what this has done is this manifests as very, very simple, easy to follow plot lines, less nuanced characters that over-explain their actions, and then less of a focus on acting through body language. And this just creates dumber TV in general. And so, those are all reasons why I think we are definitively out of the golden age. It's over, basically. And what film journalists and commentators have long argued over is, what should we call this era of TV that we're in now? Many have suggested the streaming wars, but I think that is outdated because I think when it comes to streaming services, there are already clear winners and losers as far as streaming services go. What I would propose is that the era that we're currently in should go down as the nostalgia era. And very, very simply, what this means is whatever you're watching, there is a good chance that it's a show that already exists, something from a different decade, something from a different previous year, or it is something that is derived from something that already exists, like a book, a comic book, a video game. And so it's pandering to either shows that people already love or stuff that is adapted from things people already love. So very plainly what we are in right now, the nostalgia era. That's what I'm going to call it. That's what I'm going to coin it. And that is going to be it for me today. Before I go, let's talk about some scheduling shakeups here at Theater and Stream. Next week, Chuck is going to be coming at you with another TV-centric minisode. And then 2 weeks out, Chuck and I will be back together to do a memorial podcast to the late, great David Lynch. So look forward to that. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.